Most Americans know their car payment. Almost none of them know what their car actually costs. Those two numbers are not even close to each other, and the gap between them is where a lot of financial futures quietly disappear. All right, stop what you were doing for 1 second. I want you to think about the last time you actually felt the full weight of what your car costs you. Not the payment, not just insurance, the whole thing. Every dollar that leaves your wallet because you own that vehicle sitting in your driveway right now. Most people have never done that math, and the ones who finally do, the ones who sit down and add it all up, almost always say the same thing afterward. Why did nobody tell me this? Meet Ryan. 31 years old, IT technician in Dallas, Texas. Decent salary, feels pretty responsible with his money. In 2025, he bought a new mid-size SUV. Sticker price $38,500. Monthly payment $712. He budgeted for $712. He told himself he could handle $712. Here is what Ryan's car actually cost him last year. Not $712 a month, not $8,544 a year, $11,577 a year, $965 every single month. According to AAA's 2025 Your Driving Costs study, the most comprehensive automotive cost analysis published annually, the average cost of owning and operating a new vehicle in America is $965 a month for someone driving 15,000 miles a year. Ryan's car payment was $712. His car cost him $965 every month. $253 walked out the door every single month that Ryan never saw coming because nobody at the dealership sat him down and showed him the receipt that actually mattered. This video is that receipt. Here is what we are breaking down in the next 10 minutes. Every single cost category hiding inside that $965 monthly number. What it is, what it actually costs, and why most people only ever see a fraction of it. You are going to understand why depreciation is the cost that hits hardest and shows up the least. You're going to see why the gap between a small sedan and a pickup truck is $533 every single month. And you are going to walk away with the only framework that actually tells you what a vehicle costs before you sign anything. Let's get into it. Hey, I'm Logan from Logan Wealth. We dig into the real economics behind the biggest decisions in American life. Pure education, never advice. Let's go. The invisible expense eating your budget alive. Let's start with the number that explains everything else. Depreciation is the single largest cost of car ownership, averaging $4,334 per year, according to AAA. That is $361 disappearing from the value of your car every single month before you spend $1 on gas, insurance, or anything else. And here's the wild part. You never write a check for it. It never shows up as a line item on your bank statement. It just quietly happens to your net worth while you're driving to work. A new vehicle loses roughly 20% of its value in the first year alone, then about 15% annually for the next several years. A car that costs $35,000 new might sell for $28,000 after 12 months, meaning the first owner effectively paid $7,000 just to drive it for 1 year before touching gas, insurance, or maintenance. $7,000 in year one just to be the person who drove it off the lot. This is why car economists have a saying that sounds harsh but is mathematically accurate. The most expensive mile you will ever drive in any vehicle is the first one. The second you pull out of the dealership, the depreciation clock starts and it does not stop. Okay, so let's go through the full receipt, because Ryan's $965 a month does not come from one place. It's a stack of costs that most people only partially understand. Here's how AAA breaks it down for the average new vehicle in 2026. Depreciation, $4,822 a year. That's 39% of the total, the single biggest piece. Fuel, $2,465 a year, about $205 a month just to keep it moving. Insurance, $2,124 a year, $177 a month, and that's the national average, not the Texas or Florida number. Maintenance and repairs, $1,386 a year, $116 a month. Registration and taxes, $798 a year, $67 a month. Finance charges on the loan, $1,131 a year, $94 just in interest. Add those up, you get $12,726 a year, nearly $1,061 a month. And that's for a mid-size sedan. A half-ton pickup truck? The annual gap between a half-ton pickup truck and a small sedan is $6,400 a year, about $533 more every single month. Over 12 years, that difference totals around $76,800. $76,000 on the size decision, not the brand, not the features, just the decision to drive a bigger vehicle for 12 years. The payment illusion, why the math tricks everyone. Here is the thing that gets people every single time, and it is genuinely not their fault. Most drivers track only the monthly payment, which typically represents less than half of what a car actually costs to own. Less than half. Ryan's $712 payment is less than 74% of his actual monthly car cost, which means every single month he is spending $253 more than he thinks he is spending on transportation. He just does not see it because it arrives in a dozen different forms across a dozen different billing cycles. The insurance bill comes in January. The registration renewal shows up in March. The tires need replacing in June. The brake job lands in September. None of them feel like car payments. All of them are car payments. This is what behavioral economists call mental accounting fragmentation, when the brain processes a cost differently based on how it arrives rather than what it actually represents. The dealership knows this. The financing department knows this. The monthly payment number was designed to be the only number you focus on. The receipt we just showed you is the antidote. Now, here's the part that actually gives you something to do with all of this. The biggest lever most Americans have on their total annual car cost is not negotiating the purchase price. It is the vehicle category decision made before they ever walk into a dealership. Small sedans cost about $8,381 a year to own, the most economical option in AAA's entire analysis. The Honda Civic, Toyota Corolla, and Mazda 3 combine low ownership costs with strong reliability and resale value. Compare that to the national average of $11,577. The sedan owner saves $3,196 every single year. Over 10 years, that's $31,960. Not from negotiating a better deal, not from finding cheaper insurance, just from the category decision before the conversation even starts. Electric vehicles recorded the largest cost improvement of any category, falling 16% from their peak, down to about 71 cents per mile on average. The EV cost premium narrows significantly with home charging, higher annual mileage, and federal tax credits worth up to $7,500 for qualifying models. The vehicle you choose determines the financial foundation everything else sits on, and most Americans make that decision based on which one looks good in the driveway rather than which one makes sense on a full cost of ownership spreadsheet. The number Ryan needed before he signed. Let's close the loop on Ryan. He bought a $38,500 SUV on a $712 monthly payment and thought he understood what it cost. The real number was $965 a month. The real annual cost was $11,577. Over the 5 years he plans to keep the vehicle, the total cost of ownership will come to approximately $57,885, not counting what the vehicle loses in value over that period. None of that is Ryan's fault. Nobody gave him the receipt before he signed. A practical monthly car ownership budget for the average U.S. driver is 15 to 20% of take-home pay for all vehicle-related expenses combined. For a driver taking home $4,500 per month, that means $675 to $900 for the payment, insurance, fuel, and maintenance combined. That percentage, That single benchmark is the number Ryan needed before he walked into the dealership, not the monthly payment calculator on the website, the full cost as a share of his actual take-home income. That is the receipt nobody hands you. Now you have it. Hold up, real quick. If this video just made you actually curious about what your car is costing you per month, like the real number, not just the payment, go ahead and drop a like right now. Seriously takes 2 seconds. It tells YouTube this kind of content is worth pushing to more people, and for real, it is the thing that keeps this channel going. Okay, the next part is where we talk about the one decision that saves people the most money before they ever set foot in a dealership. Do not skip this one. Look, before you head out, if you have been watching Logan Wealth for a minute, or this is literally your first video, hit subscribe. And one more thing, I pinned a comment below this video. It is a simple question and I genuinely want your answer. What does your car actually cost you per month when you add everything up? Not just the payment, everything. Drop your number below. You might be surprised, and honestly, so might everyone else reading the comments. Here's the thing about cars in America. We are a country that was built around the automobile, the freedom of it, the identity of it, the open road, the feeling of pulling out of a dealership and something new. That feeling is real and it is not going anywhere. But the receipt is also real, the $965 a month, the depreciation that starts the second you turn the key, the insurance renewal that arrives higher than the year before, the maintenance that does not ask permission before it shows up. You do not have to give up the car you love. You just have to know what it costs before it costs you something you did not agree to. Ryan did not know. Now he does, and knowing changes every decision that comes after. The receipt was always real. Now you can read it. If today's video made the real cost of car ownership finally click, check out my video called The Economics of Owning a House, because the same hidden cost structure that surprised Ryan with his car, it shows up even bigger when people buy a home. And knowing both before either decision is the kind of financial awareness most people spend years wishing they had earlier. See you over there.